Time for an IC shift recap, so let's recap my shift. I started off my shift with a bang. I got report, and literally I barely finished report, and a nurse grabbed me because there was a surgeon that was super upset that wanted to talk to the charge nurse I literally was not involved at all, but I was getting yelled at. And then I also, at the same time, the secretary's like, hey, I have a really upset family member that's calling in. Can you take the phone call? So right off the bat, put out that fire, put out that fire. Had to call a doctor about this situation and got that all situated. I rewarded myself by going down and getting breakfast. This was the day that I literally woke up at 6:30. My alarm did not go off. My phone fell into like my nightstand. I don't know what happened and why my alarm did not go off, but I still made it to work by 7, but I didn't eat breakfast. Had to go grab a cooling blanket for a nurse, and then I was actually orienting another nurse to the charge nurse position this day. So we did a lot of education on stroke alerts in our hospital because stroke alerts are they're a whole thing. Nurse called me saying that their NG tube was not flushing appropriately, went and troubleshooted that, got it to work. Also had to go troubleshoot the cooling blanket because why are those things so particular? Why? They just literally hate life. Watched CRT for another nurse while she had to go step away, did rounds at 10, and then helped remove an arterial line for another nurse that was busy. Went to a rapid response at 11:30, but it ended up being for a visitor, and there's not much we can do, so I left. Then we had a code blue that was called, that was fake, so they ended up canceling it. Then we had a patient that was just like suddenly decompensated, so we had some AFib RVR going on. We needed to do amio. We had to switch the patient over to neo and got that patient kind of situated. And then a patient needed thoracentesis and the nurse was busy. And so I went and helped position this patient for thoracentesis. Set up an arterial line because the patient's arterial line was not working and we ended up having to just change the whole setup. So went and did that, gave the secretary a break for lunch, and then had to draw some labs off of a patient that was a very difficult stick. Used the ultrasound for that. And then we had another patient on the unit, completely different patient that was like just suddenly crashing. So went and did some resuscitation efforts on that patient. And then I took my lunch. Stripped a room, we got a new admission after that. Helped move a patient over from one area to another area. Had another fake code, went to a rapid at the end of my shift, and then got report. No, I gave report. I did not receive report. And that was the end of my shift. This was a pretty busy shift. Nothing too crazy, pretty typical stuff, but nonetheless, it was steadily busy.